Welcome, history seekers, to a dark tale of ancient shadows and a stolen destiny. For millennia, we believed the firstborn son held an unbreakable, divine right to rule. But what if the most sacred blessing in history was hijacked by a trembling liar? In the suffocating darkness of a nomadic tent, a blind patriarch is about to be fooled. This is not a holy myth. This is a ruthless psychological thriller of betrayal. According to ancient texts, the patriarchal era was ruled by absolute authority. Deep in the harsh, arid desert, the great leader Isaac lies fragile upon his dying bed. His sight has vanished entirely, leaving him trapped in a suffocating world of shadows. The time has finally come for the sacred transfer of ultimate generational power. He summons his beloved eldest son, Esau, the fierce and untamed hunter of the vast wilderness. Covered in coarse red hair, Esau represents raw physical dominance and brutal strength. The frail Isaac commands him to hunt wild game and prepare a savory feast for his final meal. After eating, the blind old father will bestow the irrevocable blessing of the firstborn. This blessing is not a mere wish. It is a binding contract of absolute supremacy. Whoever receives these sacred spoken words becomes the undisputed master of the tribe. With overwhelming confidence, the muscular hunter grabs his heavy wooden bow and arrows. Esau steps out into the blazing sunlight, firmly believing destiny is already his. He marches into the barren wasteland, completely unaware of the looming betrayal. The tradition of the eldest son inheriting everything was an unquestioned tribal law. No ancient patriarch would ever dare to alter the divine sequence of inheritance. Yet historical records reveal that destiny is often forged through human manipulation. As the fierce hunter vanishes into the dusty horizon, the trap begins to close behind him. Inside the stifling, dimly lit tent, another figure has been listening very closely. The matriarch Rebecca emerges from the suffocating shadows, her eyes burning with ambition. She completely rejects the traditional right of the firstborn without any hesitation. Decades ago, she received a terrifying prophecy while these twin boys fought in her womb. The divine revelation clearly stated that the older sibling would forever serve the younger. She knows that if her blind husband eats the hunted meat, her favored son will lose absolutely everything. With calculated precision, the cunning mother immediately initiates her ruthless plan. She secretly summons Jacob, the quiet, smooth-skinned younger brother dwelling safely in the tents. Jacob approaches her in the flickering firelight, his lean face marked by confusion and fear. She commands him to quickly fetch 2 choice goats from the grazing flock to make a savory stew. Jacob trembles violently at the horrific prospect of deceiving his deeply respected father. He desperately warns her that Esau is a hairy man, while his own skin is entirely smooth. If the blind patriarch reaches out to touch him, the wicked deception will be instantly exposed. Instead of receiving the ultimate blessing, he would bring a devastating curse upon himself. But Rebecca's ambition is utterly relentless, fueled by an ancient, unshakable prophecy. She fiercely replies that any terrible curse resulting from this trickery shall fall entirely on her. The tension escalates as the desperate mother drags her hesitant son into the darkest corner. She forcefully pushes him into the rugged, earth-stained garments of his older brother, smelling of the wild. Now they must artificially recreate the rough, beast-like texture of the absent hunter's body. In a macabre twist of gripping psychological suspense, she slaughters the young goats and strips away their hairy hides. She carefully, tightly wraps the raw, furry patches of animal skin over his completely hairless wrists. She carefully binds another heavy patch of goat skin across the smooth, exposed back of his neck. Sweat pours down Jacob's terrified face as the suffocating disguise fundamentally transforms him. A fragrant, steaming bowl of savory stew is thrust directly into his trembling, disguised hands. The atmosphere grows unbearably heavy as he takes a hesitant step toward the patriarch's bed. Many modern scholars note how this calculated deception forever changed the geopolitical landscape. He is about to steal the foundational inheritance of an entire ancient civilization. If you were caught between a mother's command and your father's trust, what terrible choice would you make? The stakes are incredibly high. Absolute glory or devastating ruin hinges on the next few moments. The heavy fabric of the tent doorway rustles quietly as the disguised younger brother enters the gloom. He cautiously approaches the fragile, unseeing patriarch resting silently in the oppressive darkness. Every footstep feels monumentally loud in the suffocating silence of the isolated desert dwelling. He clears his trembling throat, desperately trying to artificially lower his natural voice. "My father," he finally whispers, holding the steaming wooden bowl of intensely fragrant cooked meat. Isaac weakly turns his blind, milky eyes toward the shadowy sound, his facial expression deeply puzzled. The blind patriarch immediately questions the unusually rapid return of his eldest son. Jacob bravely answers, committing the ultimate blasphemy by falsely claiming divine assistance. He boldly lies, stating that the Lord, his father's God, granted him remarkable success in the wild. But the blind patriarch possesses acute remaining senses, and deep suspicion begins to take root. The voice echoing in the gloomy tent does not resonate with the booming gruffness of the wild hunter. It possesses the undeniable soft inflection of the younger sibling who peacefully dwells at home. To definitively prove the identity of the person standing before him, Isaac makes a chilling request. He weakly demands the disguised imposter to step completely forward so he can physically touch his skin. This is the absolute climax of the agonizing psychological torment for the trembling, terrified Jacob. If the patriarch discovers the hairless truth of his smooth arms, the coveted blessing will become a curse. He takes a slow, agonizing step forward, presenting his fake, heavily disguised hands to the blind man. The old man's fragile, heavily wrinkled fingers slowly trace along the rough, animal-skinned wrists. The audience practically suffocates as the blind patriarch analyzes the tactile sensation. The raw, hairy goat patches perfectly mimic the uniquely rugged skin of his older brother. Isaac pauses, completely bewildered by the deeply unsettling contradiction right before him. He utters the historically famous words, "The voice is Jacob's voice, but the hands are the hands of Esau." Despite lingering doubts, the highly convincing tactile illusion secures his ultimate trust. The trap has snapped shut, The patriarch eagerly consumes the delicious, savory meat prepared by the imposter. With his hunger finally satisfied, the momentous hour of spiritual destiny has now arrived. The blind father lovingly asks his son to step closer and kiss him one final time before the blessing. As the deceptive younger sibling leans in, the earthy scent of the older brother's garments seals the deal. Smelling the vast open fields, Isaac forcefully unleashes the sacred, irreversible words of power. He officially grants him the abundant dew of heaven and absolute dominion over all the nations. He powerfully declares that his own brothers will forever bow down before his supreme authority. The cosmic transaction is permanently finalized. The universe has been successfully tricked by a disguise. Jacob hurriedly retreats from the bedside, clutching a destiny that was never meant to be organically his. He slips back into the suffocating shadows, his heart aggressively pounding with a chaotic mix of triumph and terror. Would you possess the sheer audacity to steal a divine blessing directly from a blind, dying father? The sheer magnitude of this historic betrayal will echo throughout countless future generations. The imposter barely manages to escape the tent before the true, rightful heir finally returns from the wild. The rising tension is palpable. A catastrophic confrontation is now completely unavoidable. According to historical records, the timing of these two intersecting events was remarkably precise. A few mere seconds separated the greatest spiritual theft in history from a bloody discovery. Esau confidently strides into the camp, proudly bearing the freshly prepared, savory meat from his grueling hunt. He enters the gloom, respectfully asking his blind father to arise and joyfully consume his favorite meal. The frail patriarch instantly freezes in terror, his entire body trembling with horrific realization. "Who then is he that has hunted venison and brought it to me?" he weakly stammers in absolute despair. The crushing reality heavily crashes down upon the small, suffocating space of the ancient nomadic tent. "I have eaten of it all before you came, and have blessed him. Yes, and he shall remain forever blessed." Hearing those devastating words, Esau unleashes a great and exceedingly bitter cry of pure agony. His mighty knees buckle under the immense, crushing weight of losing his entire generational inheritance. The muscular hunter collapses onto the dirt floor, openly weeping with unrestrained, violent fury. He begs his weeping father for a secondary blessing, but the spoken spiritual power cannot be undone. The patriarch can only offer him a life of constant struggle by the heavy sword.
Constant toil and misery is yours.
Esau violently realizes that his younger brother has ruthlessly supplanted him twice. He cunningly took away my precious birthright, and now he has stolen my only blessing. A terrifying, murderous hatred instantly takes root deep within the wild hunter's broken heart. He openly vows to brutally slaughter his deceptive sibling as soon as their old father dies.
He will not escape my wrath.
Hearing this deadly threat, the calculating matriarch acts quickly to save her favored son. She desperately warns Jacob that his furious brother is aggressively plotting his murder.
I go. He will find me.
He must immediately flee the desert encampment and run far away to her distant relatives. The supreme prize has been forcefully taken, but the immediate cost is a terrible exile. Under the heavy cover of darkness, the triumphant deceiver becomes a hunted fugitive. Jacob frantically runs across the freezing wasteland, leaving his entire family behind. The immense weight of his treacherous actions constantly echoes in the midnight wind. He possesses the supreme blessing of the patriarch, yet he possesses absolutely nothing else. Alone and exhausted, the runaway deceiver finally collapses upon the hard earth. With a cold, jagged stone for his lonely pillow, he drifts into a deeply troubled slumber. He does not know that this isolated wasteland is actually a gateway to the divine. Tonight, the heavens will violently tear open to reveal a massive, supernatural stairway. Jacob secured the ultimate power, but paid the price of eternal exile and hatred. Was his deception a necessary evil or a cowardly theft? Tell us below. If you enjoyed this dark historical journey, please like, share, and subscribe to our channel today.